CitizenLink is speaking up for family values and accountability. This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard along with Tom Minnery, our Senior Vice President of Government and Public Policy. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Stuart.
Well, I want to talk about what's going on around the country that we're working on. Usually we talk about what's happening in government and react to that, but we wanted to give you an idea of the work that we're doing around the country with the donations that you've given to CitizenLink. So, Tom, first tell us about an ad that's running in Pennsylvania.
Well, that is an ad that aims at a pro-life Democrat named Kathy Dalkemper, who's a member of Congress. A number of pro-life Democrats voted for the president's health care bill, and that makes them pro-abortion Democrats because the president's bill, now law, represents the greatest increase in abortion that we've seen since the Roe v. Wade decision in 1973. We're running that in Erie, Pennsylvania, in Kathy Dalkemper's district. We're running that in South Bend area. There's a pro-life Democrat named Joe Donnelly who's in the same predicament. And we're telling people that votes matter.
All right, well, let's show the ad. Here's what it looks like.
The fate of Obamacare came down to a few key votes. Legislation that uses our tax dollars to pay for abortions. And Kathy Dalkemper had a choice to make: protect life or side with President Obama and Speaker Pelosi. And she chose them. Kathy Dalkemper betrayed you and voted for the biggest expansion of abortion in decades. Votes have consequences, Congresswoman. CitizenLink Susan B. Anthony List and Pennsylvania Family Council are responsible for the content of this ad.
Now, Tom, that's a strongly worded ad. Some might call it a negative ad. What would you call it?
I call it telling the truth about the president's health care law. We've been trying to say for months that abortion is covered in several places, not just one, but we can count 4 different pipelines for funding abortion in that law, and yet the pro-life Democrats continue to say it does not. So we are at loggerheads on that, and I might mention that CitizenLink ran that ad in conjunction with our friends at the Susan B. Anthony List, which is an organization devoted to electing pro-life women to Congress, and we need more of them. Also, the Pennsylvania Family Institute, which is our Associated Family Policy Council, their political arm in Pennsylvania, also contributed to that.
Another place that we're running ads is Iowa. In 2009, the Iowa Supreme Court forced same-sex marriage on the state. And in Iowa, they get to vote on their Supreme Court justices. It's called a retention vote, whether to keep them in office. And on this election day, 3 justices will be up for that retention vote. Here's what the ad sounds like.
Have you heard about these 3 judges?
What's that?
It's the Supreme Court judges who forced same-sex marriage on Iowa.
Yeah, what can we do about it?
Well, all 3 of them are on the ballot November 2nd. This is our chance to send them a message. We can finally stand up for Iowa's pro-marriage values.
Somebody should hold them accountable.
I think that somebody's us. We can send that message on November 2nd.
Paid for by CitizenLink, which is responsible for this ad. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. CitizenLink.com.
Now, Tom, if there's a theme to these ads, it's accountability.
Well, it is. The justices on the Supreme Court in Iowa absolutely shocked the people when they voted in favor of same-sex marriage, and lo and behold, 3 of them who voted that way are on the ballot for retention, and we want people to know this is their chance to respond on how they feel about it.
Now, we've got another ad that's playing in Iowa. Do you want to set it up before we play it?
A very popular former governor, Ronald Ray, said, "Now wait a minute, you don't want to kick somebody off the team because of one bad call." We responded with an ad featuring a well-known coach in Iowa saying it's not only that they blew a call, it's that they changed the rules. It's up to the people to decide whether marriage is to be continued as one man, one woman, or that venerable institution be erased by changing its definition. It's not up to judges because it's hard to find same-sex marriage in the Iowa Constitution, just as it's hard to find that anywhere. So if the people want to change it, the people change the Constitution. And so we're running an ad responding to the Robert Ray ad.
All right, well, let's take a listen to it.
The call is Iowa, offsides. Let's make it a 40-yard penalty. It's first at 50.
40-yard penalty?
I've never seen anything like this, have you?
Oh, man, the refs didn't just blow that call. They're totally changing the rules of the game. This is nuts.
I'm Bernie Soggle. Every referee blows a call or two, but when they completely make up new rules on their own with no approval from the league, do you think the league should keep hiring them as referees? Iowa's Supreme Court justices not only imposed same-sex marriage on Iowa citizens, they changed the rules about marriage, all on their own, without input or approval from the people of Iowa. If they're willing to change the rules about something as important as marriage, none of our deeply held Iowa values and tradition is safe from judicial activism. Iowans should think hard before they rehire judges who change the rules to suit themselves.
CitizenLink and Iowa Family Policy Center Action are responsible for this ad. Paid for by CitizenLink, CitizenLink.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Now, Tom, I should point out that the first Iowa ad that we played was produced right here in-house with our own staff. Saved a lot of money that way. It's a very quick and efficient way to get these things turned around. I want to share another ad that was also produced in-house, and it's running in 19 different versions all over the country.
There's a new voice rising in America.
It's a voice that says,
we've had enough.
Enough taxes.
Enough deficits.
And enough members of Congress who won't listen to we the people.
We're tired of the assault on our faith, our families,
our freedoms.
The time has come to change our entire broken system.
And to start.
We have to change the people who broke it.
That's why on Election Day, we need Ken Buck.
CitizenLink and Colorado Family Action are responsible for this ad. Paid for by CitizenLink, CitizenLink.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Now, that's obviously the version that's running here in Colorado. We have 18 other versions that are running in various races around the country, either affirming a candidate or trying to shine some light on a candidate that we might disagree with.
Oh, that's right. Those are aimed at federal races for House of Representatives or for the Senate. And as you said, the one you heard was the version here in Colorado for Ken Buck running for U.S. Senate. And you're right. Some of the fine work by our very own Stuart Shepard helped create that ad. And I worked a little bit on polishing the script. We did save a lot of money, and a friend of mine who's very astute about matters such as this mentioned last night, wow, that ad stood out from among the many that I'm hearing on the radio. So we think maybe we've got an effective ad here.
So we might want to start a little cottage business on the side, I'm just saying. Not anytime soon, anyway. Tom, last week we talked about a situation in Ohio. A pro-life group there, the Susan B. Anthony List, ran some billboards that basically pointed out that Steve Driehaus, who's a candidate there, an incumbent, voted for taxpayer-funded abortion. Driehaus filed a complaint. It ended up at the Ohio Elections Commission. Then it went to federal court, the pro-life group asking the federal court not to take the billboards down. Give us the latest.
Well, yes, this is again the question of whether there is abortion or not abortion in the president's health care law. We say there is. Steve Driehaus, one of those pro-life Democrats, say there is not. Therefore, he can vote for it and still be called pro-life because he represents Cincinnati, which is a very pro-life town, particularly the west side of Cincinnati where his district is. So he filed a complaint with the Ohio Elections Commission. It's not surprising that they found cause that the ad might be misleading since most of the people on that commission are in Steve Driehaus's same Democratic Party. And the Susan B. Anthony List, very courageous, went up on radio saying, we stand by what we say in that billboard that caused the fracas. It was a billboard that said, shame on you, Congressman Driehaus, for voting for abortion. Pretty direct. And this has to be resolved, and I don't think that it's going to be resolved before Election Day. The federal court appealed to by the Susan B. Anthony List decided to stay out of it, so it's back with the Ohio Election Commission.
So, Tom, that's a lot of airtime that we've been purchasing. I'm going to ask you the honest and open question. How much are we spending?
Stuart, we are spending about $1.5 million on the elections, trying to let people know where the candidates stand, what they have voted on, despite how they claim to have voted in some instances. And this is what it's all about. It's easier to get better pro-family laws if you've got candidates elected who are better pro-family candidates, and that is the purpose. And we try to stay out of the rank partisanship. We are a Christian ministry here. We need to guard our tone. It is not as harsh. Hopefully it's not harsh at all, like some of the nasty ads that can be seen everywhere. And we're doing our part. We could not do it at all without our knowledgeable friends in the states around the country who can tell us who these people really are and who they're not, who needs support and who should not get that support. And obviously without CitizenLink subscribers and friends who donate to it, we could do nothing. So thank you so much.
I heard an ad on the radio just this morning. It was by the political arm of the National Education Association, a completely misleading ad that made statements that, while true, left out other facts that would help explain what the particular position of the candidate they were talking about was. One reason that I'm proud of these ads is there's no shadiness to it. There's no dodging. There's no misleading. It's all perfectly on point.
Well, that's true from our perspective. Obviously, the pro-life Democrats in Congress will say we're exactly wrong on whether there's abortion in the health care law, but we have been debating that. We are certain that we are correct, and there you have it. That's our best judgment.
Before I will let you go, we've been talking about what we've been doing. I want to give you a chance to encourage everyone watching to get out there and vote on Tuesday.
Well, Stuart, it comes down to the direction from the New Testament. Romans chapter 13 says, honor the governing authorities. This government is of the people, by the people, for the people. We have the blessing of citizenship. We are the people as much as anybody is the people. And the threshold way in which we honor the governing authorities is to cast that vote. So I hope everybody does that, or has already done it if you have early voting.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom, and thanks to all of you who are watching for letting us know your thoughts when you write to us, and also just for participating in the system. We encourage you to prayerfully consider your vote and get the best information you can about those who are running, and find the candidate who best resonates with your values. You can always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. We encourage you to pray for this election as it comes up so quickly here. And remember, next week, on Tuesday evening, on Election Day, we'll have a 3-hour live webcast. If you come here to CitizenLink.com, you'll be able to find it. We'll have a special homepage for that evening. Tom and I will be hosting it, but we'll also be bringing in guests from all over the country, 9 different folks from our family policy councils in various states, as well as Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council Action, and our own president, Jim Daly, will be dropping by to share with us a bit. So we invite you to tune in for that. Again, go to CitizenLink.com. It starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Election Day evening. And remember, stand tall and be heard.